Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. In this one, I'm doing something a little bit different and looking at what the potential costs and outcome was for the crafting event that happened a little while ago. I noticed at the end of the crafting event that several people said that they weren't happy with it. I can't say if it was due to the fact that they didn't get the reforged CTPs, specifically the reforged Brilliant Authority, but regardless, the general vibe or consensus that I got was that people weren't necessarily happy with the way that the event turned out. Personally, I thought the event was great, but I did have a lot of gold and resources stocked up to be able to try my hand at the reforged CTPs and all the other stuff. And I think that's where the problem was for the most part for people. It's that the costs were really high, so they couldn't really fully partake in the crafting event, and as a result, they didn't really enjoy it. Unfortunately, this time around, I didn't really track how many times it took me to get all the CTPs. I did end up getting both the Brilliant and the Mighty, as well as the regular and the CTP box. Since the cost to get these CTPs was heavily based on RNG, I didn't really think it made too much sense to kind of look at it, even though it would have been interesting. But instead, I wanted to look at what the cost was for getting all the crafting boxes, as well as how much resources I ended up gathering from them. I feel like this was one part of the event that was heavily overlooked, since the advanced material box that you get from crafting actually gave you a lot of really good upgradable resources. If you want to see the results of me opening the normal and advanced material boxes, as well as tallying up how much of each material I got, you can check that out in the next 4 minutes of this video. But if you want to skip right to the end where I do the analysis of the materials I got and the total costs for it, then you can just skip to the 6-minute mark. After opening up all those boxes, these are what my final results look like. I'm not going to bother reading out the amounts since you can see them there, but I did have to use short forms or abbreviations for the materials. So if you're wondering what those are, very quickly, BAM is black antimatter, CNS is Chaos Nornstones, GUK is Gear Upgrade Kits, DD is Dimension Debris, PF is Phoenix Feathers, and MC is Macron Crystals. Then with the addition of the advanced materials, you have EOD, which is Essence of Dimension, TCP, Titan Component Packs, CCF, Cosmic Cube Fragments, AC, Awakening Crystals, and MGF, which is Mandalay Gem Fragments. You can see that there is a negative gold cost at the end of each of the two lists on the far left. So you have total normal, which is all the materials that I got in the normal chest that was crafted, and then total advance, which is the total materials that I got from the advanced chest that was crafted. Since I opened 13 chests of each kind, it was 500,000 gold to open the normal, so 13 times 500,000 is 6.5 million. And for the advanced material chest, it was 1.5 million for every box opening, so 13 times 1.5 million is 19.5 million. So if you add all of the gold together, I ended up spending 26 million gold to get all of the materials that you see in the grand total section further to the right of those two lists. So most notably, you'll see that I got about 900-ish black antimatter, over 1,000 Chaos Nornstones, close to 200 Essence of Dimension and TCP if you kind of bundle that together, as well as the Awakening Crystals, and almost 400 Mandalay Gem Fragments, as well as CCF. That's not too bad considering I also got around 1,300 Phoenix Feathers and around 1,600 Macron Crystals. And ever since they upgraded crafting in general, those materials are great since you can make a lot of comic cards with them. Keep in mind that I only opened 13 chests, and I believe that the event ran for 16 days, so I could have had 3 more on top of this. Regardless, you can see that the results aren't too bad given the gold cost, so you might be wondering why people thought the event was so bad if you disregard the CTP aspect of it. And the answer lies in how you get those ice cream or tokens or materials or whatever you want to call them to be able to craft these chests. To get the normal material chest, it wasn't that bad since the red ice cream dropped pretty regularly in dispatch, but to get the advanced material chest, it was a little bit tougher since the blue ice cream only dropped from stages 5.1 in dispatch or higher. And to add to that, the blue ice cream was rarer, so it had a less chance of dropping, and you needed 100 of them to be able to unlock a chest with 10 of the materials in them. So for some people that couldn't farm dispatch to get enough of those blue ice creams, they basically had to craft 100 blue ice creams, which significantly increased the cost of getting the advanced material chest. You can see on the far left list that it cost 50 CCF to create 1 purple ice cream, as well as 175,000 gold. In order to convert that into blue ice cream, you first had to convert it into a bundle of, I believe, 10,000 red ice cream, which cost 100,000 gold, and then converting that amount into the blue ice cream costs 5 million gold. Since you're opening 13 chests, then you have to do this 13 times in order to get all the blue ice cream. So that's going to cost you 650 CCF, and then the creation cost is about 2.2 million, as well as 1.3 million for the red ice cream, and a total of 65 million gold to turn all the red ice cream into blue ice cream. So if you couldn't farm the blue ice cream for whatever reason in dispatch, and you had to craft it throughout this event, you would take the 2.2 million gold, the 1.3 million gold for those craftings, as well as the 65 million gold, and you take the total that you got from opening all those chests. So before I had 405 CCF that I got from opening all the advanced material chests, but that also cost me 26 million gold to open those chests. So if you take everything together, so the event outcome is what I called it in the middle list there, you see that it actually cost me 245 CCF to get all the materials that you see in the grand total section on the right, and the total cost for me to open all these chests ends up being around 95 million gold. So now you can get a better idea of the true cost of getting these materials. It wasn't as low as the 26 million that I initially showed. For most people, they couldn't really farm the 100 blue ice creams that is necessary to get all of these in a single day. And more often than not, people would have to craft the blue ice cream in order to get the materials that they wanted. Some might argue that this value is a bit bloated since it relies on the fact that a player crafted the blue ice cream every single day and didn't really do anything with the amount that they farmed with in this patch. But regardless, you get an idea of how much higher the value is from 26 million, which was the base cost if you just farmed up all the materials and then got the boxes. If I had to guess a value, I would say that for the majority of the players, the total gold cost would probably range anywhere from 60 to maybe 75 or 80 million gold to get all of the normal and advanced material chests for the event. You can see that if you didn't have somewhere around 50 million gold for this event, that you couldn't really do too much, at least for the crafting of materials part of it. And since this was just one aspect of it, with the crafting of the Brilliant, Mighty, and regular CTP of Authority, as well as the CTP chest, that this cost goes even way higher. I didn't really track my cost for the CTP crafting side of the event, but if I had to guess, I would say that I probably spent around 800 to 1000 CCF, and for the event as a whole, both the CTP crafting and the materials, I would say that I spent maybe around 150 to 200 million gold. After tracking all this data and doing the calculations, I get a better idea now why some people didn't like the event, since not everyone has 200 million gold just lying around to spend specifically for an event that has RNG in it, and you might get nothing back from it. For people that had a lot of gold, the event was obviously pretty good, but the division between the two groups was pretty large, so hopefully the next time that they run this event, they can either reduce the cost for combining the ice creams together, or they can make it so that when you run in this patch, you either get more of the blue ice cream or that it drops more consistently. A little bit after the crafting event ended, there was an Uru combined discount event as well as a chance up to get an Odin blessing from it. Because at this point I had gotten my gold reserves back up to around the 450 million mark, I decided to spend about 220 million worth of gold to combine all my 2, 3, 4, and 5 star Urus up to level 6 so that then I could try for a chance at an Odin blessing. If you want some advice on Urus to combine and things like that, I would suggest that you only try to combine Urus that are level 3 or higher unless you have a lot of gold, maybe over 100 million, then also combine the 2-star ones. And if you have more than 100 million gold, you can also try combining the 1-star ones. In terms of what Urus to combine, that really depends on where you are in your account, but the ones that aren't really useful regardless is the recovery rate, the energy defense, and the physical defense. Once you build up your cards a little bit more, you'll realize that you don't really need too much of the cooldown, dodge, ignore defense, and attack speed. And depending on your card stats, you might even not really need the crit or crit damage Urus that much either. If you have the majority of your roster built up, then it might not be the worst idea to also consider using your energy and physical attack Urus for a chance to get an Odin blessing. Though I wouldn't recommend this for most people, even though that's what I did for this event. In total, I ended up spending about 220 million gold and ended up with 23 Odin's blessings. Based off these results, I would say that if this event occurs again, you could probably be expecting 1 Odin blessing per 10 million gold that you spend. If the event runs again, but without the discount, then it's closer to the 13 million mark. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I hope you found it interesting or useful. I myself thought it was pretty cool since you could see how much each thing costs in an event to get an idea of how much gold you're spending per item. Hopefully the video showed you that it's probably a really good idea to save a lot of gold before an update occurs, since you never know when an event like this will happen and you don't really want to miss out on it, since it has a lot of good premium items and other useful upgrade materials. If you like the content of this video, then consider leaving me a thumbs up, or if you didn't like it, even a thumbs down, since I know whether to make more or less of this in the future. If you really liked the video, you could also consider subscribing, since that helps my channel grow. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I'll get back to them as soon as I can. As always, thank you for your time and watching, but the video is now over.